you're in a place where it is safe and appropriate, please close your eyes and take some nice, long, slow, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel more light and peace entering your body and mind. With every exhale, let all tension go from the body, along with anything that you do not want from your mind. Inhaling peace and exhaling as you let go. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of our circle, a bonfire blazes forth. It lights us in the grove with a sacred golden light. This is the light of perfect love and perfect trust. It easily and efficiently burns away everything unlike itself, leaving us safe and serene. Into this sacred space, we invoke the presence of our Creator. To many of us, our Creator reveals themselves to be a mother and father, a goddess and God. We also invite the presence of our angels, our guides, our teachers. We ask that we be guided as we walk upon the way, becoming happier, more peaceful, more gentle, wiser, and more loving people. Blessed be. You are God's gift to the world. Wake up with that idea in your mind every day. I'm God's gift to the world. And if you don't like the word God, use some other expression. You are the Creator's gift to the world, the Creator's beloved child, as important to the Creator as any creation, and nobody but you can fill your function here. Your function here is essential. It's vital. When we don't understand this and we think I'm just a nobody, or even on the other side of it, if we're all puffed up and arrogant, yeah, I am God's gift to the world, more special than everybody else. Either side of that equation, we are depriving not only ourselves, but the entire world of the gift that we are. The idea that we are a gift to the world is something that's very foreign to our understanding. That's not how we're raised. At least I wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised to understand that I am a unique gift and that without my fulfilling my function here, the world is deprived. I never heard that. The understanding of ourselves as gifts to the world is not arrogant. It can't be arrogant. Your function isn't to have power over other people. Your function isn't to be better than other people. Your function is to be yourself. You can't be better or worse than anybody else because you're so unique. You are irreplaceable, utterly irreplaceable. We live in fragmented minds, ruled by misperception, our senses trying to make sense of something that they can't perceive. And we are ruled by habits of thought that are self-destructive in nature. Nobody teaches us this. Nobody gives us this manual. It's not a mistake that that's how it is. This is a closed system that we're born into here. And it is a vast conspiracy. A vast conspiracy. The idea that you are an ego, that you are a separate being, that you are alone, that you're not good enough, that you have to struggle to survive, that all you are is a body, and once your body dies, that's it. Isn't that depressing? This world is all about keeping you from the truth, hiding you away from the truth. We live in a matrix of lies that we participate in because we don't know any better. We were born into it. It's the curse. People talk about generational curses. The whole world is under a generational curse. And that generational curse happened the instant that we, as a child of the infinite, decided we were separate, decided we were different, decided to think about things all by ourselves without any connection to the truth. The result of that is going to sleep, having amnesia, born into life after life of illusion, suffering, pain, not understanding that we're just one thought away from remembering who we really are and why we're here, understanding and remembering all of our power we have allowed to be unclaimed. It's as if it's not even there because it's just lying dormant in us, coiled up at the base of our spine like a sleeping serpent. It's up to us to remind ourselves, I am God's gift to the world. I was sent here for a very important purpose. I was sent to awaken myself, and when I awaken myself, I awaken others. I can't do it alone. You weren't created eons ago and then left to your own devices. You're created in the moment. Your heart is beating now, and even when your heart stops beating, your soul's heart continues to beat. The universe extends itself as you. The infinite extends itself as you. That's eternal. There's no death. The present moment is all eternity. It didn't happen a long time ago. It's not going to happen in the future. It is in the eternal now. That's where God lives. That's where the angels live. That's where truth lives in the moment. The ego rules over the past. The ego rules over the future. Those are things that don't exist. And the ego only exists in what isn't. And there is no past. Show me where the past is. You show me where that past is. Why is it we can't agree on what really happened in the past? Even historians trained in the science of history don't agree on what happened in the past necessarily. That's because it's not there. And the future's not there other than it's something that we imagine, something that we plan for. Now, I'm not saying that the concept of past and future aren't usable here. Absolutely they are. Of course we need history. We need to understand the history of ourselves, our relationships, and our cultures so that we can have a workable experience here. Of course we need to decide where we're going and head our lives in the right direction. But we don't dwell there. You can't dwell in the past. You can't dwell in the future. There's no home there. Your home is here in eternity. Eternity is right now in this moment. And that's who you are. And that's where you live. And the ego doesn't want you to notice that, because as soon as you notice how powerful you are, how important you are, how essential you are, how eternal you are, the ego has no importance. The ego is just it ceases to be. The voice is still there if you want to listen to it, but it has no power over you because you recognize something that's real versus all of the lies that you've been taught in this world. Everything you've been taught in this world has been a lie of some sort. It's based on everything that you're not. It's not that the conspiracy is happening because people are complicit in it on purpose. They're just unknowing accomplices. We all are. But as soon as you take a moment, just a moment, to question everything, well, maybe it's not the way I think it is. Maybe that isn't that. Maybe that isn't that either. Maybe none of it's real. Maybe everything I was ever taught is wrong. Then you start to move into that eternity. You start to recognize who you are. And then the idea of your function here as being a gift, as being an extension of light, you start extending like God does for you. You are created in the moment as an extension of love that never ends, that's eternal, that's who you are. And then you get to create in the same manner by extending yourself. And what are your creations? Well, your creations are everything that is an extension of love, everything that is an extension of light, everything that is an extension of who you are. But how can you extend yourself as who you are if you're unaware that you are? If you're not aware that you are, you can't create. Your mind is going to be creative no matter what you do. That's just the function of the mind. It's going to create experiences for you, and we are going to create experiences together. That's just how we are. That's just how the mind works. But if we're not understanding who we are and we're only believing in the habit patterns of thought that are programmed to separate, that's what we project. And it's all automatic. It's all knee-jerk. It's all reactive. We project our world so perfectly, but then we don't see it. We don't see, this is a projection of my mind. This problem, this relationship, this circumstance. Sometimes when people hear the idea everything is a projection of your mind, they get very upset. Oh, I didn't create this. I didn't come up with this. I'm not responsible for this. You are responsible for how you react to it. You have all kinds of different ways to react to situations. But we're conditioned. We're conditioned to react via our ego, and never are we encouraged to respond to a situation as if we are the gift. What if you said, I'm a gift? How would you respond differently? I don't think it would be the same thing. You wouldn't react in the same way. Spending time thinking about who you are and how you were created, why you were created, what your function is, what you are, as opposed to what you've been taught by the Matrix your whole life. I'm a body. I'm a personality. I'm a set of circumstances. I'm part of a family. I'm part of a culture. I have a certain resume. I have certain kind of education. I have a type of job. I have possessions. I make certain amount of money. I have a certain amount of problems. That's the only thing we think we are. It's the totality of who we think we are, isn't it? All of those things. Maybe if we have time considering something else about ourselves. That's not magical. That's not a magical way of thinking. When I say magical thinking, I'm not talking about the psychological term magical thinking. That term, magical thinking, is what we call superstitious thinking. When we say magical thinking, we're talking about thinking like a magus, perceiving the world as the magi do. That's what magical thinking is for us. It's very different. But it's not a magical way of perceiving life. I'm just this, I'm just that, I'm just this, I'm just that. Because then you have no power in the world. And magic is all about having power. But you are power. You are power. That's who you are. You are potent. You are of the same substance as the creator of the entire cosmos. You have the same abilities. Our ego minds are so set because of this conspiracy that we have been born into here. And I do use that word conspiracy on purpose because it is one. But you have to understand that you're the conspirator. You're culpable. To the degree that you listen to something like this and then don't question your life, don't relate to your world as a spiritual being, and continue to relate to your world as an ego, then you're part of the problem, aren't you? And that's not a judgment on you. That's not to make you feel bad. It's to give you power. It's to make you realize, oh, okay, if I thought of it this way, I can think of it another way. I do have power over my mind. I do have power over my choice. I can make decisions. I do have the power to decide. Up until now, I've just been deciding based on habit. But I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm going to decide based on will. When you can decide based on will rather than habit, then you switch over from one world to another world. Instead of being caught up in the matrix of this world of the ego, you then become part of the truth. You become part of who you are as a divine child of the infinite who is extending itself through love, and everything and everywhere you go heals in your presence. Everything heals in your presence because you are learning to heal yourself. Nothing happens in a vacuum. As you heal, everything around you heals. As your mind opens, everybody else's mind around you opens to some degree or another. Very often, when people come to the world of magic, it's because they have problems that they need to fix, or they have goals that they want to obtain. Not very many people are interested in getting into magic right away because they want to become one with their souls and stop looking through the eyes of the ego and get their inner sight opened. That's not what they want. They want to know, how do I pay this bill? How do I take care of this problem with this relationship? How do I protect myself from this narcissist or whatever their thing is? So those things are very good. We use them for what their purpose is. Stepping stones into the truth. We learn how to see things through different eyes. And we say, okay, I do have a problem that needs to be addressed. But instead of trying to fix it myself, I'm going to address this problem by changing my perspective. And I'm going to recognize that I'm not here to have this problem. That's not why I was sent here. I was not sent here to have a problem. I was sent here to be a light to the world. I'm going to use this problem to retrain my mind so that I can see things in a different way. So not only do you solve the problem, but you get the added benefit of opening your mind, opening your eyes, and seeing things in a different way. Waking up to the truth of who you are as a soul and no longer being confounded by and constricted by your own habitual ego thought system, which you've conspired to keep alive along with everybody else in the matrix. And it's a beautiful thing because infinite intelligence meets you right where you are. Right where you are. And so you take one problem at a time, one little thing at a time, and you apply the principles of magic to those problems in order that not only the problem be solved, but that it be used as a tool or catalyst to open up your sight so that you can see the truth about who you are, why you're here, and who everybody else is, and why they're here. As a result of that, you stop resisting your problems, you stop judging other people, and you start recognizing that on another level, on another plane of existence, the dramas that we are so ensconced in are not happening. They're not happening. There's just a lot of sleeping souls that don't know any better. That's part of why we were sent here, to gently help awaken them. And you do that by just taking things as they come, what's in front of you, one thing at a time. Having those goals, having those problems, the nuts and bolts of what we talk about in our courses about having goals and problems and addressing them and finding magical solutions for them, that's all part of the package. There's no place where practical magic and high magic diverge. We need practical magic in order to ground ourselves into the understanding of what we're doing. This idea that are you working high magic or are you working practical magic? High magic or low magic? That stops being a thing. There's only your soul. There's only your function. There's only your purpose here. And you get to a point when you do that you don't feel so responsible for fixing your problems anymore, because you recognize that magic is the science of the magi. What you're learning how to do is change the perception of the problem through your magic so that no longer are you trying to figure it out as a separated ego, but you are calling on a higher power to take care of it for you. And people think, well, that's not right. Shouldn't I be responsible for my own magic? You are being responsible for your own magic when you do it that way. You are being responsible. Can you imagine if you had a job with maybe nuclear weapons? You didn't quite know what to do, but you thought, well, it's my responsibility, so I better fix it. Wouldn't it be better to call an expert and say, what do I do here? Right? Just to keep everything safe? There's no difference in your problems. You think you know what to do to fix them, so you're going to project your own ideas on how to fix them, and somehow that's going to work out for you. But if you already knew how to fix them, you would have fixed them. If you already knew how to be happy, you'd be happy. But there's a part of your mind that's living outside of that matrix, always has been, living in the present moment in eternity, that does know. That does know. And remember who you are. You're an extension of perfection. You're an extension of light. You are as you were created, not as your ego it was made by you and the world, but as you were created by the Creator. And there's a big divergence between the two. In this world, how our personalities have come up and how we've trained ourselves and the world has trained us to be is very different than how we are created as spirits. Our job is to learn how to move from one to the other. And the only way to do that is by reminding ourselves, I'm God's gift to the world. Am I acting like God's gift to the world, or am I acting like a crazy person? Usually, I'm acting like a crazy person. Just knowing that helps me. Just knowing, okay, if I'm having a problem, I'm probably acting crazy. I've probably got all kinds of stuff going on that has nothing to do with the truth here. So if I stop and I just recognize that, that's just a given that I'm part of the problem here, and just say, wait a minute, I'm God's gift to the world. I'm God's gift to the world. And since I'm God's gift to the world doesn't do this. So I must be acting like an ego rather than as myself. What do? I ask for help. I call upon that teacher within me and I say, show me what to do. Show me how to be. Show me what to say. And I take it one tiny itty bitty step at a time, especially if I'm in the middle of a crisis or something. I just really take it moment by moment by moment and learn how to say, now what? Now what? Now what? And I'm always guided. If I keep in mind who I am, as God's gift to the world, I'm here to extend love. I'm here to extend light. I'm here to be part of the healing process. I don't know what that looks like. If I try to be a healer, no, I'm off. If I try to be a, quote, teacher, I'm off. What I do is I listen and I let that higher power handle it for me. And then I am told what actions I need to take, if any. Very frequently, what actions I'm told to take are just chill out, Ariel. Just chit. You just be you. You just be you and start thinking about who you are as a soul. We'll take it from here. Then you learn. You learn how well cared for you are. You learn that there is a world that you do live in where everything works out perfectly. We won't be able to fully live in that world until we all wake up. So in the meantime, I'm just another spoke in that big giant wheel, but I'm an essential part. I'm just here tending my part of the garden, doing what I need to do in every single moment, being God's gift to the world. I recommend you start thinking about who you are as a gift, because you are a gift, and nothing you do or say or anybody else does or says can change that. You can delay it. You can deny it. You can try to prove that it's not true. And you can do some horrible, awful things to try to prove it's not true, but none of it will work. It can't work because you're not powerful enough to undo who you are. That's the one thing you can't do. You might be able to commit suicide in your body, but you can't commit suicide in your soul. It's impossible. So you may as well not try. You may as well just accept the fact that you are perfect as you were created, and that your personality has some catching up to do, and that'll take care of itself if you can just shift your mind over to who you are as a gift rather than who you are as a basket of problems. And then what you do is you take that basket of problems as the gift that you are, one little problem at a time, and you start applying the principles of magic to those problems. And you see those problems not only dissolve for you, but that as a result of it, you are expressing yourself as the gift to this world that you are. And then you recognize that a lot of those problems just take care of themselves without you ever having to address them. Using practical magic as a means to get to that new understanding. Actually, it's a very old understanding of who you are, remembering who you are. And once you remember who you are, it's going to be as if it's always been like that. You know how it is when you wake up from a dream? In the dream, you forgot who you were, but when you wake up, it's like, oh, that didn't happen. It might take a minute to reorient yourself, but you don't question who you are anymore. You recognize who you are. Oh, no, I'm awake now. It's a similar thing for us. When we wake up as souls, all of this other stuff is just going to be remembered as nothing but a blip. But that doesn't happen until you are willing to entertain the idea of who you are as a gift. I am God's gift to the world. I am as I was created. I can't help but be created as this perfection. I can't help it. So I'm going to stop trying. I'm just going to be the perfect me that I am. And I'm going to apply the principles of magic that I understand as I understand them to any problem that seems to present itself to me, because that's going to help me to stay connected to the truth of who I am and understand my function here rather than be confused as I've been up to this point. Take a little time out every day and remind yourself that you are God's gift to the world. There's no place in this entire universe where you exist as anything other than perfection, other than in this conspiracy of the ego we've all gotten sucked into. And that disappears in a blip when you recognize who you are as a soul. I'm God's gift to the world, and I'm here because I have a function to fulfill that is essential, and no one but me can fulfill it. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.